listen, I make one mistake and forget to push the button, and now all of a sudden you're over here fact checking my cord cable plugging in.
Oh, really?
Do I see that other cable over there? You just keep your eyes on your notes. That's what I'll say.
I think when a man needs some help, he should receive it with grace.
Listen,
because we all need as much as we can
get.
get.
Linda, listen. Linda, have you seen that video?
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen that video?
Seen that one either.
Cute little kid, man. Cute little black kid is like in his kitchen, and his mom is telling him like that he can't have candy or something. This is the most adorable little kid you've ever seen. And he's like, he's looking up at the camera, and he's like, Linda, listen. Listen, Linda, listen. He's calling her by her first name. And it is
He's
adorable.
He's going to sell it.
So every time in our house when somebody is like complaining, like they'll go, Linda, listen. This is a cute. I got to send you that video.
Okay.
Great video.
All right, let's do a video swap.
So we're talking about marriage today.
Yeah, what a way to start off the year.
Yeah. Now,
other than our resolutions.
Of course. What I think we would both love to say here on the front end is we are not marriage experts. Right? Are you a marriage expert?
No, not yet. But I'll let you know if I ever get there.
I don't know that we'll ever get there.
Maybe the day before I die.
Yes.
You'll be like, oh, well, I might be an expert.
Maybe I know a few things. But
every day it changes.
Yeah.
Living and breathing. It is not an expert at all.
An evolving relationship.
Meaning the stories, the dynamics, the learnings.
Yeah.
They're all specific to two people that are very different too.
Yes.
And so every story is going to be different. Every conflict is going to be different. Every personality is going to be different in the way that they're put together. Mm-hmm. And then all the learnings are different. So yeah, the big disclaimer is not an expert.
Yep.
Here's my learnings. Here's my growth areas. And maybe you can relate to some of that. Maybe you can't.
I think that's a good way to kind of set the stage a little bit.
This is not a blanket fix it.
No.
This, that.
Oh my gosh, no. But you did.
But I have sat around like fires before.
Yeah.
And that guy who's about to, watch his bride walk down the aisle, it's like, hey, here's some advice. Mm-hmm. And there's some great advice from experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. You had this great idea. I think it's a great idea.
Oh, thank you so much.
To say, what would an episode look like where we are, because you and Rachel have been married for 15 years.
15, yep.
Kimberly and I will be 24 years this June.
Wow. Oh, sorry. We're 16 years this December. Okay, so you say it that way.
I always want to round up, bro.
Look, in 3 years,
we're
going to be 18 years married. Gosh. That's what you just did. I said, we've been married 15 years, and you said, well, in June, months away, half a year away.
We are in 2025, the year of our Lord. And in 2025, Kimberly and I will have been married for 24 years. I'm just saying.
I didn't know we were calculating year of our Lord because
I'm closer to 24 than I am 23. I'll say that.
You're 23 and a half years married.
Yes.
That's incredible. Rounds up to 24.
The point I'm trying to make is
we almost have a 10 years difference.
Is you have 15 years of experience. I have 23 and a half years of experience. And so you had the idea, which I think is a good one, to say, what would 15 years married Winston love to go back and say to the guy who's about to walk down the aisle, Winston?
Yeah.
What would you communicate now being 15 years in, and from my side being 23 and a half years in, what would I love to communicate to that idiot back then when I was, 22, 23 years old? Mm-hmm. What would I love to communicate to that kid and say, hey, here's something, now having been in it for a certain number of years, here's what I would love to share with you. Here are a few bits of knowledge, wisdom, insight, whatever you want to call it, that maybe you would love to learn a little bit earlier than you did. Yeah. Does that make sense? Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know where it came from. I think it's because that's valuable and it's good practice.
Yeah.
to just like
what have I learned?
Reflect on
Yes.
that, go back through however you prepared for it.
Yeah.
And I also see, I was 23 as well. I look at 21 and 23-year-olds these days, man, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I look at them and I don't have a category for marriage for them. I don't know what our parents were thinking. Like, they look so young.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between a high schooler and a college student anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's how old I am.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
It's tough. And so,
but also, marriage seems to be falling out of favor with younger people, right?
It
Don't you
is.
feel like they're getting married older?
for sure.
Yeah.
I think culture has continued to evolve that way. We were in the South. We both kind of knew what we wanted. Rachel gave me a panic attack by saying, all right, so, I mean, she basically put it on me.
Like an
when are we
ultimatum.
getting married? When are you going to,
That sounds like Rachel.
you know, oh yeah, she's like backing out the calendar. Like, so if we have a 6-month engagement or a 9-month, then you have to ask permission. And I'm like,
Oh, man.
I started breathing hard.
I didn't realize, and maybe I'm wrong, but is she a planner by nature? She loves to plan things?
In her bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big time. So, I was a kid.
Yes.
A kid. I was thinking about this as I was going through this material. I don't think there would even be a place for that 23-year-old to even receive it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't even know if he could have understood it. It's a different language. It's kind of like having a kid. Like, you really just have to go through it.
Yeah.
You can't preach somebody the emotions and the feelings and the roller coasters of having a kid. You kind of just have to do it.
You have to experience
But
it.
I love this exercise.
Yeah. Can you imagine, okay, so I'm curious about this. If you can sort of shut your eyes and just visualize, imagine it for a minute. Did you guys have your rehearsal dinner the night before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So imagine you're leaving the rehearsal dinner
Right.
the night before. And you're, at some point you're alone. I would imagine at some point you were by yourself. And out of nowhere,
This guy walks in.
current Winston walks up and just goes, hey,
Whoa. Your
Let me-
hair is so short.
let me share with you a couple of things.
I would
okay?
have listened. I would have
think you
been
would have?
struck. Just, hold on. I got a recorder. I got to take notes.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been crazy to have that. Mm-hmm. Because the other part is, how did you get there?
Yeah.
How did you learn all this? What are you talking about?
You think about that, though. If that were to happen, that you walk up out of nowhere and you go, hey, look, I want to share some things with you. And by the way, I'm coming from 15 years in the future. and
And you
we're-
get to see what you
And
look
we're okay. I don't want to spoil everything, but like, it's good. Everything's good.
That alone would have been an amazing gift.
Gosh. I get a little emotional thinking about that happening. I don't know why.
You just created that, and that created, yeah.
That's a weird thing.
What would your response have been? 23 years
Yeah, 'cause
future
I was-
showing up to you.
I had to back it out. I was
rehearsal dinner
23.
night.
I was 23 as well. I remember because I'll get. I won't go into a lot of detail, but I had to tell Kimberly something on the night of our rehearsal dinner
Yeah.
that I did not want to tell her.
So you could have used,
I had to come clean
Future self.
on a really knucklehead thing I had done.
yeah.
And I was really nervous about it and worried about it. And she handled it great. But
Right.
it was that night was an emotional
It's a tough-
one for me.
tough night to
yeah,
do
it was a hard thing.
Okay.
But I think part of me thinks I was still stupid enough that I would have been like, you don't know what you're talking about,
There's a part of me saying that too.
you know?
Like I'll listen. Like, is that what you're saying? Like, okay, go ahead and tell me.
Yeah, go ahead, you know.
But I've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody should make a movie about that.
It takes a long time for the ego to melt away.
Yeah. Has there ever been a Hallmark movie made about this?
No.
Where you go back.
Link it.
Yeah.
All your Hallmark.
That's a great
producers.
Hallmark movie. I would watch that movie.
Yeah.
We are Hallmark movie people, and I would watch
yeah?
that Hallmark movie.
This has Hallmark vibes.
Oh, yes.
What you just said.
Yes.
Rehearsal dinner night. Boom,
Yeah.
there it is. You got to confess to your future bride about something.
And then
you got this
future you
guy.
walks out.
to help you.
Yeah.
Hey, what if he would have helped you with that conversation too? Here's how this could go.
I needed some help with that one.
That would be good.
Yeah. All right.
Great setup.
I love this idea.
So what's the format here?
Yeah, I think you start us off. Like did
3.
we kind of set on 3? That's what I thought
I think
we did.
that's great.
So I made 3 notes of things that I wish I would have known back then that I do think would have made, I think you still have to go through the experiences, make the mistakes, learn your lessons.
That's where it is.
But I think they would have helped me. These are the cheat sheets, the cliff notes that I'd be like, man, I would love to. I think it'd be valuable for me to have known that. So that's the way I thought about it.
Doesn't that sound like an upside down economy to you, that we have to actually go through the stuff to come up with the valuable learnings? And that's
humanity.
You're not
though.
just born that way.
Yeah.
God turned it around the other way.
That's humanity.
So,
and I think
it's basically like, hey, what are all of your failures that are now have changed you into a better man?
Yeah. Yeah.
What a wild algorithm that he did. Like, come on. I gotta go through.
I love the
all
way
of it.
you just said algorithm.
Yes, sir.
Like Colonel Sanders.
I don't know what happened.
With a mouthful of chicken.
All right.
Start us off. What was your
My
and are
first
these ranked,
one.
Are these ranked for you? Like most important, or did you not think about it that way? I did not. I did not rank them.
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
They're different areas, different tools, different things that I've walked through. My first one though is my title of it is Rachel, Fix Me. You are responsible for me. So I used to wake up and ask Rachel, how am I doing today? Because I put
really
her
ask
so
her that?
much, I was so codependent, I put her so much on a pedestal that her mood dictated how I was doing. I'd look to her to be like, okay, how are you doing today? And I think I adopted this philosophy growing up, that I'm a hopeless romantic, okay? So soulmates, the missing puzzle piece, Hallmark, all of that stuff I love. But I think I bought into the notion that when you are married, then that person actually fixes a lot of your stuff.
Yeah. They're the final piece.
They're that perfect fit. You're like, oh, I was looking for that. And then, you put the puzzle piece in and you expect, because of your upbringing, that certain things get better and easier.
Yeah.
Then that turns into this enmeshment where, well, now we're kind of functioning as this same person, but there's this problem because we're not the same person.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fix you, you're trying to fix me. And then I started to get into fear of her mood or how she's doing. I'd walk in the kitchen and read her face, and that alone would be like, well, God, I guess I did something, or she's upset at me about something. She's not. She's, on another planet thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So,
but you put a lot of value in that.
And so if she wasn't number one on my list, I had a huge problem with that. I had to learn to like myself independent of what my wife's mood was or what she thought about me.
How did that show up early on? Like what types of challenges arose out of that early on before you kind of recognized that?
Yeah.
How would it play out?
I think it was just a veil that I didn't give myself this, I would call it joy of independence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be a jerk and just go do whatever I want.
Sure.
And at the same time, I was approaching the throne so often and asking permission and playing small. And she wasn't getting a whole man.
Yeah.
So I put a lot on her that was unfair. I describe it like two trees, right? So one of my quotes on here is, stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart. And the oak tree and the cypress do not grow in each other's shadow. Have you ever walked a trail in the woods and there's a tree that had fallen, but it was caught by another tree. So it hadn't fallen yet, and you're like, should I walk under that tree? Or am I good?
I did it the other day, yeah.
I was that tree for a majority of our marriage. And what I realized was the way that God set it up was that we are two independent root systems, two independent trees. And as we grow together, then our roots can connect in the soil, and our canopies, can brush against each other.
Yeah.
But we are two different people. So we're connected, but we can still make decisions differently and separately and have opinion. But I was so dependent on her to take care of all of me and all my ailments that she became an idol to me.
Yeah.
That I had to break free from.
That's a beautiful way to say it, to communicate it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big learning for me. My wife is not there to fix me.
Yeah. That's good.
I got to do my own work.
That's good. That's good. Man, I love this.
That was just the first one.
That's just we could stop right now, bro.
I mean, it'll be 16 years this year, so
yeah.
It's a lot of wisdom.
My first one, I'm going to have to be delicate the way I talk about this.
Okay.
Sex.
Let's go right to it.
I think having a healthy, more realistic expectation around sex would have served us well in the early years. Mm-hmm. We came into it, and I think media, movies play a big role in this. Mm-hmm. You think when you're moving into, I'm going to be married to this woman, I love her dearly. Man, it's the honeymoon phase. This is going to be so romantic, and this is going to be just fireworks in the bedroom every single night. Forever. Right. Forever.
Right. Yep.
And it just was not that way. It was way, the way I kind of wrote it down here. I think I've come to understand that sex between a husband and a wife is, yes, it's a physical act, but I think it's far less physical and far more emotional than I originally thought it was.
No, man.
And
amen to that.
Yeah, and we have grown to have this appreciation for the act of making love that is far beyond orgasm. Mm-hmm. The physical act of, this thing. And I wish I had known that. I wish I had learned that earlier. I'll tell you really candidly, because I don't want to be graphic. I don't want to give away, but for several years that was a struggle with us. I think we each had these different expectations on it.
Yeah.
And if she didn't feel like it one night, boy, I took that so personally. I felt such rejection inside me,
shame,
and for sure. Yeah. And there was a lot of nights I go to bed feeling resentful, angry, hurt, rejected.
Yeah.
And it's just not men and women. I don't want to overgeneralize, but I do think we are so different physically when it comes to the act of sex.
Right.
And I didn't know it. I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't respect it enough. Mm-hmm. That I just thought, man, this has to be the way I thought it would be in my head. And if I don't get what I want, then man, I felt all these things. And
the victim.
Yeah. It has, there's been a great evolution in our marriage around that. And,
have you been able to talk about it?
Oh, yes.
Now.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of talking. We went to, I I don't remember how many years this was. This may have been before y'all were even married. Jeff and Laura Helton actually put on like a 6-week marriage class that also involved dancing.
Oh, yeah.
And like you would go to this place and
Which
you would
is
learn
connection.
to dance together. Yeah.
Right.
And then we would talk about these things, and it was fantastic. And like there was a lot of conversation that kind of came from that.
Right.
And has continued. And there today is just it's a different, healthier expectation around that.
Yeah.
And there's a deeper appreciation for it.
Right. Yeah. So I totally echo everything that you said. Mm-hmm. Certainly the rejection and the shame.
Yeah.
And working with myself to be fine.
Yep.
What is it about us that if we do or don't have sex, we're going to be okay? Like, what is that about a man?
Yeah.
But certainly relate to that. The thing is, the goal with sex for me, it's the opposite way that I feel like I am naturally wired. But if sex can become the byproduct of the emotional connection, then that's the best equation.
I agree.
Leading up to it.
Yeah.
And life happens.
Oh.
Yet life happens. So it's like, hey, Tuesday night, you're planning, you find yourself planning it out.
Yeah.
Because life is just going to take you down.
Yeah.
So you really have to fight for it. And what's hard is, in my stage of life, it's hard to have time to do dinner and have a conversation and really catch up with each other and connect at a deep level. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, by the time you get home, you might be just pretty tired.
Yeah.
So it's not simple. It's not a formula.
I am never too tired for sex. Never. I've told Kimberly, like, you could wake me up at 3:00 in the morning out of a dead sleep.
I'll take it.
And I'll be like, let's go, But
wait, we need to have a conversation and connect first. Wait, let me see.
Well, but
that's the way it's set up. It's just not natural for me.
But I do think.
But it is better.
As you move through life, I will add to this, which what you're saying, like, I do think it needs to be a significant priority in a healthy marriage.
Sex.
Absolutely.
100%.
In a healthy, good, emotional connection way, I think you have to prioritize that. And it doesn't have to be every day.
And you got to practice. I mean, you got to get better at it.
Yeah.
Communicating about it, talking about it, taking down having self-awareness to accept the baggage that you've got with it. And saying like, well, that was funny and that's interesting, and then laying that down and just being comfortable with yourself in that space, so that you can have more freedom with it. Yeah, man, how much baggage is there? So
that was
especially in the South.
I didn't rank it, but that's just the
Thank
first
you for
one
going right to it.
That's the first one that I made notes about.
This is a good segue to mine, and I'll just say, number 2 for me, the title is Use Your Words. Use your words. Mm-hmm. I'm naturally an introvert. I'm a processor. I'm in my head. I'm contemplative. That's my natural personality. Rachel is a shark. There is no filter. She's like, why do you have to think about what you're thinking about? Just how are you feeling?
Yeah.
So the segue from sex is don't ask for sex with your body. Eventually, when the honeymoon period was over, in my story, I realized that she was not hearing me at all. Do you know why? It's because I wasn't using words. Yeah. And
you were thinking it all.
It just started to turn into this like leech. It was like, why is this hermit crab? Following me around. So using the words. Using the word desire versus needs for me is big. Speaking up, speaking out loud. The reason I don't like the word needs is because it feels manipulative. It puts the burden on the other person. Yeah. I need sex. I need you to do this. You know what? Most of our needs aren't needs. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like food, shelter, water, self-purpose,
We've moved
safety,
far
security.
beyond need.
We're
Yes.
well beyond needs
Yeah.
at this point. You're not going to die.
Yeah.
But it is so important for me to speak up in my desires and let the response be what it is.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm that younger version of myself laying in bed with resentment.
Yeah.
So the first thing is I was unaware of my desires. The second is it's not natural for me to ask. It's just not. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable.
Yep. I 1,000%.
And then I
agree.
justify not expressing them somehow.
Yeah.
And then pride takes over, which is like a close cousin of shame. And then, you're back in the cycle. I had to break all of that down. So my suggestion to myself is grow some balls and speak up. Don't be scared of the friction.
Yeah.
She wants to know you. And that far outweighs whatever stories you're making up in your mind that would cause you to not be able to open yourself up to her and say what you're needing. So, that's my number 2. Speak up.
I love that.
Don't be a hermit.
I think it's fantastic.
Just move, engage.
And it kind of, connected in a different way, but when you're talking about it, it makes me think, because I genuinely believe my wife is way smarter than I am. And I will tell her a lot of times, because occasionally we'll fall into this thing where if I am sensing that she's in a bad mood or that she's frustrated with something.
Yeah.
And when I really start digging around, it's like, well, I wish you would have done this thing, or I needed help here. And I have said it, I keep having to say it. I don't want to say this in a way that I feel that I'm not trying to communicate that I keep having to say, but a thing I say often in our home is like, honey, if you ever need me, all you have to do is ask. I'm an idiot, dude. Sometimes I don't pick up on the signals.
Yeah.
But if you use your words and communicate to me, I need help doing this, I'm there. I will jump in. Like,
right.
I'll be there. You tell me what you need, and I will be there to help you,
Right, right.
But I'm a dummy sometimes.
Well, we're not mind readers.
No.
And neither are spouses.
None of us are.
That's the importance of just bringing it out.
So it does work both ways, on all different facets of the relationship, whether it be sexual, emotional, tactical,
Right.
You got to use your words.
But how many times have I read her face and just kind of made up a story and not really checked in, and then I go dancing like a pony trying to fix everything, or I'll do the dishes, try to make it all better, and
it's got nothing to do with the dishes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that.
Talk it out.
My second one kind of sort of relates to your first one. I wrote down, don't try to fix the problem. And here's what I mean by that. There have been many times in our marriage where Kimberly is a talker. Mm-hmm. She loves to talk. She loves to communicate with her words to me about her day, about what she's struggling with, about a frustration with homeschool or with the kids or whatever. Yep. And a lot of times early on in our marriage, I would hear her words and I would most of the time I would jump in and tell her, here's how you need to fix that. Yeah. And that's not what she wanted. And that's not what she needed from me. Yeah. She needed her husband to sit and listen to her and know her, understand what her day was like, what she dealt with, where her struggles are at. She just needed me to listen and understand and see her and hear her. Yeah. But a lot of times, and I'm still guilty of it occasionally, but like I want to go into this, okay, we need to fix this problem. Yep. And sometimes that looked like me just actively going out and trying to fix it. And sometimes most of the time, worse than that would be me telling her, here's what you should do to fix that. Yeah. And that's not, that did not go well. That did not go well. And it shouldn't have. That's not what she She was not asking for that from
Yeah.
me. I had not been given permission to try to fix that problem.
Yeah.
So now I've learned it when those conversations come up now, I try hard to pay attention, listen, give her my presence, like give her my, I'm going to be present here and pay attention. I'm not going to be on my phone. I want to listen.
Yeah. I'm not coming up with
Right.
solutions.
I'm not running in my head trying to think about how to fix this.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it in and being a sounding board for her. And then when if there is a moment where I feel like it's appropriate, I'll say like, honey, are you asking me?
Yeah. Do you want some feedback?
Do you want some feedback? If
Yeah.
you don't, that's fine. And a lot of times it's like,
important.
no, I just need you to listen. I just want you to hear what I'm dealing. I want you to understand what I'm dealing with.
That question, are you open to feedback, is so big.
Yeah.
And it gives you a milestone to be like, am I in feedback solution mode?
Yeah.
Or am I in listening mode?
And so now,
that is so hard.
Yeah. The last year or so, I've adopted this. I can't remember where I heard it, but I've adopted this motto for this type of scenario where I will say, I don't answer questions I'm not asked.
Wow.
I don't answer questions.
That's your
that I'm
title
not
of
asked.
this one.
I like, and
Yeah.
man, what
I don't fix problems that aren't asked.
Yeah, because it is. We all have those people. Like I can think of half a dozen people in my life.
Yeah.
Who have a.
Hey, you
I'll
could
say
do
a,
this.
A problem.
You
like
could do this.
here's what you should do about that.
Yeah.
You know what you should do. You should do, and boy,
Or even worse, here's what I would do.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Now there are some people I'll go, hey, what do you think about this? What would you do if you were in
And
my
then
shoes?
there's your green light.
There's your permission. There's your
Right.
green light. But I don't want unsolicited advice from people. And I don't want to be the person who gives that unsolicited advice.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because as you're talking, I'm thinking, yes, I totally am there. I think what I do, and I'm curious if you do this too, is I start to talk about how it's an opinion. It's kind of a, I can see that, and then this and this and this about that person or this situation, and this is my thought about it. I'm not really fixing it, but I'm making it about me.
1,000%.
And so even the harder part for me is to shut up about me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I want to be a better question asker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is them. This is our spouse talking. And it's a lot easier just to start talking to, and you think that you're joining them in the understanding, but you're actually just talking about I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to share what I think about that.
And
I'm not fixing it. I'm just saying, this is what I'm thinking.
And you're
it's hard to say.
essentially
You know what's hard to
saying-
say? It's hard to say. Tell me more.
Oh.
I'm going to sit here and tell me
Yeah,
more about that.
When people do that, you're basically telling them how they need or how you think they need to fix it without using the words, here's what you need to do.
That's
fix
right.
it.
But that's me.
But you're communicating.
That's hard for me not just to shut up and really seek to understand and set all of my stuff over here.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. But I do think it's become
That's a great
a
learning.
very valuable tool in our communication. When she's downloading to me, I need to download. That's all I need to do. And I'm there for her. And I think asking good questions is great. That's something that moves, I think, also into kids. I mean, we're not talking about kids today, but like as they struggle with things, I have found it more valuable to be like, how do you feel like it impacted you when you did that? And how did that go for you? Questions, getting them to talk and
Keep
answer,
going.
and it makes them think more, I think is a lot more valuable than, what you should have done. You shouldn't have done that. What you should have done is this.
I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to get better.
I just take one sentence because that's about all they give you.
Yep.
And then I'm just like, what do I do now? I guess I'll give my opinion.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it going.
So that was my second one is don't try to fix whatever problem she's dealing with.
Here's my last one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great one. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
This goes back to that 23-year-old, because that's who we're talking to, right? And this is when you say it's going to be okay. This gives enormous value to that statement that 15 years later, it's going to be okay. I would tell him that there is an amazing amount of power in the brokenness. Tell the truth. Tell the secret. Get it out there. Be who you are. Be real. Be human. Work with that in front of your person who loves you and desires to love you. Because those moments and those processes and those problems and those conflicts, it's the greatest threshold of transformation and the greatest threshold of intimacy that you can experience. So I would say, don't play small. Don't do the dance. If you're asked, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Learn how to say it well. Learn how to tell the truth well while still tending to your wife's heart.
Yeah.
But say it. Like, move into that space, even though everything inside of you is going to be like, bells going off, shame alarms going off, rejection alarms going off, fear alarms going off. But the only risk to not doing that is a level of intimacy that God created us to have the capacity for, and you lose out on that.
Yeah. Give me an example of this. I want to know like something you could share. That would be, what's an example of you not hiding away from that, but stepping into it?
Yeah. My mind can be like a drunken monkey sometimes if you really start listening to your mind. And so it could just be, hey, I had this thought today that really struck me, and I'm just laughing at it because, it just came through my mind, but I noticed it, and I just wanted to let you know. That's vulnerable. A V1 of it could be dreams. Dreams you don't have any control over, so you're like, hey, here's the dream.
Yeah.
It's my ex-girlfriend from whatever, and that's that type of thing. But being able to open your heart up and just be a human being in front of your spouse, it's really scary. But I wished I would have loved myself enough that I was totally fine with that earlier. Because it really does provide the greatest intimacy, So I would just, I'd tell that 23-year-old, don't hide. It's going to be okay.
Lean into it.
Lean into it and really wrap your arms around yourself so that your wife has the gift of knowing you. Mm-hmm. At a deep level.
Great, dude. I'm proud of you.
You're going to make me cry?
You can cry on this show.
I could. If I wasn't like in teacher mode.
This is a cry-free
zone.
zone.
That one can get me.
This is not a cry-free zone. That would not be the good thing.
No, it is not.
This is a crying safe zone. This is a safe place. Winston.
I'll just
you're
say,
in a safe place.
Thank you. Thanks. This is so. I would say the pathway to ourselves and God is through suffering. That is my true belief.
Yeah.
And it kind of is, it's where all of these things came from today that I would be telling my 23-year-old self. It didn't come from, like these amazing successes that happened out of nowhere. Like I have gotten to know myself better and Rachel better because of our sufferings, not because it's been easy. So that's my last one that I will leave you with. 23-year-old self, leave it with. Just lean into it.
Side note, have you ever read the book Hind's Feet on High Places?
I started it, but I think I got a little sleepy.
Dude, it's a great book.
I know.
You got to finish it.
Okay.
You got to finish. Which one are you? Are you reading the visual one that has all the beautiful drawings?
I don't think so. It's a smaller one.
All right. I'm gonna give you one that's gonna capture you a little bit better. I'm gonna give you one.
I started it and I'm like, whew, man,
it's a great book, dude.
I gotta get there.
But it's all about what you're talking, sorrow and suffering, being the path that we have to walk. We have to walk it. It's mandatory.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, it was just a little diversion.
Thank you.
Here's
Pat.
my last
I can't
one.
wait for you to send it to me.
Here's my last one, which also is sort of tied to sex,
Okay.
but not really.
It's not hard to make the connection.
Yeah,
though.
I come from a
middle class family.
I come from a long line of adulterers.
Okay.
So my father was unfaithful many times to my mom. I am naturally wired to appreciate the beauty of women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I need to find the right words to say here. I think if I were going to fall in some, really destructive trap for a man, that could potentially be the trap that I would fall in.
Mm-hmm.
And many years ago, I think we'd probably been married for 3 or 4 years. We were still living in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is north of Nashville. And we were going to this church, Long Hollow Baptist Church. Our pastor was a guy named David Landreth, who passed away a few years ago. But David was a great guy. And at our church, we held this thing called, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a men's conference. It was going to be like the Long Hollow Baptist Men's Conference. Mm-hmm. So you had several hundred men that got together, and it's like a 2-day men's conference. Mm-hmm. And I remember him saying something that I will never forget. And it has stuck in my brain, and it has influenced something that I have prayed about consistently since that day.
Yeah.
And here's what he said. He said, naked women are good looking. He said, naked women are good looking. Mm-hmm. And we are all, as men, we are designed to be attracted to the female specimen. Mm-hmm. And he said, so something that he started doing years ago is he would make consistent prayers before God. God, will you make my wife the prettiest woman in the world to me? Mm-hmm. Make her the prettiest woman in the world to me. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't appreciate the beauty of another woman, mm-hmm. but make her the sexiest, prettiest woman in the world to me. And I started praying that prayer back then, probably 20 years ago. And it is the God's honest truth. That woman, in my eyes, is the prettiest girl in the world. I believe that. I feel that in me.
Yeah.
I feel that in me for my wife. And so I can appreciate the beauty of another woman, but I've genuinely never felt a desire to stray, a desire to a physical attraction in some unhealthy way. And I believe that part of it, just because of how I'm bent and what the history of my family is, I think it's something I could have strayed with. Mm-hmm. I think we're all capable of terrible things as humans. I think we're capable of really terrible things. And I would like to think I'm not capable of that, but I think I'm a sinner. And I'm human.
I know I am.
And that is just, I'll never forget David Landry, who was a tall, lanky basketball playing. His fingers were all jacked up. He was a teetotaler, which I totally disagreed with him on that. But but he said that naked women are good looking, and we can be distracted by that as men. And I have been praying, God, just make my wife, in my eyes, make her the most beautiful woman on the world to me, in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about her.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think there's
something
to that.
It sounds like in light of your family history, that you have also made peace with being able to notice beauty and then leave it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I think for all of humanity, beauty is something to be noticed.
For sure.
In all areas, not even just
I totally
sex,
agree.
you know?
I totally agree.
We're wired for beauty. You know, God created beauty.
Yeah.
He sees it.
Yep. But there is a line there between appreciating beauty and moving into like lust
and using it.
Yeah, using it. Yes.
That's right. And I love how you have said those words, is that, you know, we're wired that way, and that is how God intended it, and we can appreciate it without using it.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear a lot of guilt in there, which is that's a lot of growth, you know, coming from a 23-year-old kid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't even know what using beauty means,
Yeah.
probably back then. And then allowing your wife to be the golden rod in a field of just sagebrush, right?
Yeah.
Like she's the one.
And so much of it, I think, you know, as you praying that prayer, I think maybe I even started out praying it just thinking, okay, I just want her to be the most physically attractive woman to me. But I think as time goes on, and I think God in his wisdom, he sees that prayer. Maybe he sees the heart behind it and goes, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to like the emotional connection. Like there are many more things besides her physical beauty that make her the sexiest woman in the world to me. And it goes beyond her physical looks.
That's right.
Or whatever.
Right.
That maybe early on, even if I'd known that back then, I may have started praying it, but I may have prayed it for different reasons.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he's gracious enough to give me an answer I didn't even know to ask for. You know, to know her on a deeper level.
Yeah. Beauty is fleeting.
Yes.
So that
physical beauty. Yes.
That prayer, you know, it matures into this attraction of the soul.
Yeah.
And my honorable mention on here is I've often been challenged in counseling to remember what you were attracted to at the very first moments with Rachel.
Yeah.
Outside of her beauty.
Yeah.
What were those things?
Oh.
And so I go back and I start talking about her intelligence and how fun she was and outgoing. She was a boss. She was confident, and everything opposite of what I grew up with, where it's like what I was thinking in a soulmate. But I was just like, what is this woman that I'm just so drawn to?
Yeah.
And that is great practice too. My honorable mention to the 23-year-old would be like, remember what you're attracted to today. Like, remember what draws you to her.
Yeah.
Outside of her physical beauty. Because that is gold, and it doesn't go away.
This was good.
Dadgum,
this might be my favorite one.
Oh, really?
So far.
Really?
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have more? How did you go about preparing it? In thought, or did you have a journal?
In thought. No.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it was purely like these are things that I think come up more.
Yeah.
They just come up a lot.
Yep.
You know, we have been, I think we've been really blessed in our marriage that like we genuinely like each other so much.
Yeah.
And
I love being friends with Rachel.
Yes. I love it. Is the one thing that I kind of disagree with Mansfield on. Because I'm okay with her being my best friend.
Oh yeah.
Now,
yeah.
You
get the
absolutely,
sentiment.
Yeah. I think there's a little semantics. Maybe is the right word. I don't know. I do think
it's an unfair argument.
I know. I need good guy friends.
I need best friends that are guys, and I need a best friend
who play a different role than the role my wife plays in my life.
Yeah.
I 1,000% agree with that.
Yep.
But she is my best friend.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop.
Well, that's a
calling her
huge
that.
gift, man. That's a huge gift.
It's a huge gift. So we've not had like
the first question in a broken marriage would be like, well, do you like each other?
Yeah.
Do you want to stay together
Yeah.
because do you like each other? It's like, it's a yes or no.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. So that's a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. And so these were just kind of the three that I feel like had the most impact that we deal with or have dealt with the most. That I'm like, okay, I would go back and tell that idiot these things.
Gosh.
Start praying that earlier.
And then he would apply like 1% of it.
Start praying that earlier, and don't try to fix her problems when she wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
And you got to have some realistic expectations around sex, because it's not going to be what you think it is. But the good thing is it can be so much more than I think that idiot thought it would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, that was beautiful. Thanks for putting that together.
This was good.
Opening it up. We've got a new thing on the Southern Gentleman podcast.
We do. Yes, we do.
We asked our listeners, what would they like to hear us talk about, or questions that they have
that's right.
we could answer for them. So we've got you call this a beanie?
A beanie. I don't call it a beanie. I call it a sock hat.
Wow, I called it a toboggan growing up, which I don't think is actually the right word.
No, yeah, I don't think it's called a toboggan. Well, I don't know.
That's a
toboggan's
sled.
a sled, yeah.
I know, but that's what I called it. I'm going to go with beanie.
Do you want to draw this out?
No, I think you've got it.
Come on, dude.
You're sitting over there. You're actually holding it.
You want me to draw it out?
Around.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to grab a question.
Nah,
We're literally just grabbing a question out here. And there are multiple questions in here.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Mailbag beanie.
This is from David in Northville, Michigan. We got a listener in Northville,
Michigan.
Yeah. He says, how long should one leave up their Christmas decorations?
There are HOA fights about that one subject.
Are there really?
Yeah, they will fine you if you leave them up too long.
HOAs have
I'm in the
gotten
property
out of control,
management.
bro.
Let's do an episode on HOAs. But yeah, he might have an HOA that he's trying to talk to right now.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, Southern Gentleman said it's appropriate for this. Yeah, that kind of goes in the same camp as like, how long do you say Happy New Year? Mm-hmm. How early is too early? Are you a pre-Thanksgiving lighter or are you after Thanksgiving lighter?
I have a very concrete answer on this.
I don't yet, but I could give you a general answer.
Yeah. I think they have to be down by January 1.
Ooh, okay. I was going to say within that first week of January. I'm giving a little grace period because you got plans, you got travel, you got family.
Holiday party, New Year's party, you might want your tree up or whatever.
But a hard stance on it's a new year. Like it's the whole nother calendar. Mm-hmm. You got to take Christmas down.
Yeah. It's got to come down.
I've got a lot of I still have a lot of Christmas lights in my neighborhood right now.
All of our decorations are still up.
Oh, you actually have them.
I will say, all of our decorations, our trees still up. The stockings, I think, are still hung up. All the the whatever, the pine needles that wrap around your banister or whatever. We got all of it still up.
You just said I have such a hard stance on this.
Hey, dude, listen, I live with 5 other humans, and they don't all necessarily agree with me. I'm going to shout out my daughter, McKinley.
You can get it done so fast.
Our daughter kind of took control of it this year and kind of ran with it. Oh. She is she's a November 1. Christmas decorations need to be up.
Wow.
And she's like we might get them down by February. She would love to have Christmas.
Will she take them down?
She'll guide that, yeah.
Okay.
She might,
because I'm okay.
Her brothers.
I'm okay lifting the deadline if other people are going to do it.
Oh yeah, I didn't have anything to do with putting them up this year. Nothing.
Amazing.
She was like, I'm ready to do it, and she got everything out of the attic and enlisted the help of brothers, and they
hard stance January 1
at it.
Hard stance.
But I think the way it should be is after Thanksgiving, decorations should go up.
Wow.
And they should be down by January 1.
You're a traditionalist. Yeah.
But I'll also say, like,
I'd go early, but I'd keep a hard stance on the take. I'm harder on the exit than I am like, November 1, sure.
We also
enjoy it.
We have a sunroom that we put like 3 or 4 years ago. We decorated the the inside
Trim.
Yeah, with like a garland and and string lights.
Oh yeah.
So it was like a Christmas garland. They have yet to come down. They've been up for like 4 years.
Oh,
they're still up.
That's
they're
atmosphere.
They're up year round.
It's totally
Dude,
atmosphere now.
It's the string lights intertwined with like a pine cone garland, Christmas garland.
That's a 4-season garland.
It's
like
very
Christmas lights. When you say string lights,
well, they're
like the
white
party
lights, they're clear lights.
So they're Christmas lights.
Yeah, but then they've got
that's Christmas.
Pine needles and pine cones and like snowmen.
Is there snow on it?
Maybe. I'll have to look tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Red berries. And it
flanked
all around.
What do you call those snow trees? Flanked?
I guess. I don't know. I just heard a little pop.
Oh, yeah, a little pop.
That was weird. Should we answer one more or you just want to go one?
I like that one for today.
Okay. There you go. So David
well done.
in
well, great question, David.
David in what was this? Northville, Michigan.
Northville,
there you
Michigan.
There you go,
I
David.
hope that helps settle the HOA argument.
Shout out David, Northville, Michigan. All our Michigan listeners.
Way up there.
Yeah, way up there in the south.
We're about to get 4 inches tomorrow. Watch out.
They say I read 6 to 8.
I know.
You think it'll be real?
Excited. It's not as much as Northville, I'm positive.
Have you gone to Costco yet? Stocked up?
Can't do it. It's just all packed out, busy. Everybody's freaking out.
Got to get
prepping.
your TP, got to get your eggs, got to get your milk, got to get your bread.
Yeah, for the weekend. And then it'll be gone.
Yeah.
You never know.
Hey, this was good.
Well done. Thanks for opening up to that. And great stuff.
There you go. What do you want to tell people?
I want to tell them here's to the next 24 years first. And keep coming back, y'all.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out the other videos on our channel and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos.
And if you're tired of seeing our faces talk, you can go the audio only route and catch us on Apple and Spotify. If you do that, be sure to subscribe, give us a rating and a review so that we can reach more people.
See y'all next week.